And talking about effort, I would like to talk about your collaborations with ballet, with films, with theater, but let's start for something that maybe is less commercial, less well known for everyone, but I was so impressed when I went to your studio and I saw the punch bag that you made. Do you still have it? It's an amazing, huge piece of art. It cannot be called in any other way because also I doubt it has a useful reason to be.
I think the only useful thing that I could see at the time was it was like therapy for me.
Okay.
But now it's a thing.
How long did you invest on that? I think it's like 10 years.
Right, yeah. So it's like a big folly. I had an idea once, I can't remember where it came from, to make a punch bag with fighting cockerels. Just the fighting cockerels on it in a sort of elaborate way. Don't know where the idea came from, but
why?
I can't remember now.
Do you kind of remember?
I just remember it was sort of there. And I thought, I'm going to make that one day when I've got some time. And I started to do it. And I started work on it in between jobs to use up some of the leather that I had and to try, because some of the jobs you do, you haven't got the full freedom that you kind of want. And I just wanted to be self-indulgent. I wanted to try all the techniques, without any kind of interference, just to see where it went. And that's dangerous because it can be awful, because it's just your unfiltered mind.
Yeah.
It can just be so self-indulgent, it's horrible. And I'll let your viewers make up their own mind if they see a picture of it, what they think. But
yes,
it was me pouring everything in. And during that period, I went from being very in demand and quite, interesting job offers. But it lasted through that period where then suddenly the phone wasn't ringing as much and I started doubting myself again.
That's just reality.
And it was like, and suddenly I found myself having much more time than I wanted to work on this thing. And great periods of time I'm thinking, I'm just going to my workshop to make big chickens on a punch bag.
So,
and that was when I was
it was
bit
like
mad.
a therapy,
it was like
yes.
2 a.m. stitching giant cockerels out of leather to put on a thing that no one asked for, and it's costing me time and money. What am I doing? And it was only when it was done you thought, oh, it's a thing. It's a big thing.
Yes, but you said like that easily, like just when it's done. But it took you 10 years.
7 years. I started it, from starting it, I looked through my phone, I could see the first photograph of when I started cutting the leather out. And it was 7 years before it was finished. I can't remember what the exact dates were. But it was for a year, it was just wrapped in bin bags in the corner of my workshop because I hadn't had time to work on it. So there was times when I just didn't look at it, didn't want to look at it. And there was times when I took it out and thought, why did I start this thing? I'm never going to finish it. But it was a chance to
explore.
In it, there's a lot of hand motifs, a lot of three-dimensional hand motifs and symbolism in it. And I only realised after I finished it that was me. It's a kind of, it sounds so pretentious, but it kind of ended up being a portrait of myself, really.
In which sense?
It's about clash, conflict, masculinity, the importance of your hands. It's called Dukes, which is Cockney Roman slang for your fists. And the Duke of York is the hall right near my workshop, which is where the boxing is. And it's a boxing bag. And it's a regal word, but it also means something brutal. So it's all those themes that were in my work before. The symbol, there's lots of things in it. There's little things I've put in there that no one can see.
And it's also about, look at me, no? I'm here, and amazing. I am amazing, sorry. I am valuable.
I think I'd always
beautiful.
wanted to do a big piece that you think, I'm never going to get time to do this. I'm never going to, how would you have the time? Unless you're super wealthy, when are you going to have the time to do something like that? Like paint the Mona Lisa or something. I'm not comparing it to that, but I'm just mean something large scale that's bonkers, that you can just go, look at that. I did every stitch of that. Even if you hate it, it's ridiculously massive and it's a big piece of work. And I just wanted to do a big piece of work, self-indulgent, and that's what it was.
What do you think to decide, okay, this beautiful piece is finished? We normally, every time you finish something, you are kind of closing a door and opening many others.
Yeah.
Which ones were the doors that open after you actually decide, okay, this is done and I'm satisfied?
I think for me, that's a really good question, because for me it was, deadlines were usually the way that I knew I had to finish something, because there was a deadline. There was no deadline on this, and you could.
Are you rebel with deadlines, or do you follow them good?
I'm good with deadlines. I always hit my deadlines, but I always put more work than is expected. If you know what I mean. I'm always putting.
More
if I've got
hours.
3 days, I'll do 3 weeks worth of work in those 3. I'll work all the way through the night. Always done that. Kill myself to get the most I can get into that thing in the time I've got. This thing was a different project because it could go on forever, and it could.
You killed yourself, but for different reasons.
I mean, I nearly killed myself getting it out of my workshop because it nearly fell on top of me.
Oh my God, it's so heavy.
It's a big thing. But it was a good way of me closing a chapter of...
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it was closing a chapter of the kind of work that I'd done. I was getting people to say that around that time steampunk was becoming quite popular, and I'm not knocking steampunk, but it was not what I was about. My work could look like some of that, I can see, and if your viewers see, they might think that as well, but that was not what was in my mind. And so my work was kind of, I wanted to close off that and move on, and that's what it did. It kind of like, if you can see what I'd done up to that point, and that was the end of it, bookended it. So that's the colour schemes, the kind of the approach to making that piece, was using everything, and then now I've got to do something else. So that's where I still feel like I am now, because I finished that and I had projects to do. So I'm sort of, but when I can be self-indulgent again, I know it will be nothing like that.
No.
No.
Maybe you don't know. Well, okay, maybe you know.
Yeah, I do know.
You do know.
Yeah.